You're listening to Small Business Talk with Jerry. Sit in on great conversations with entrepreneurs who risk everything chasing the American dream.
Hey everybody, Jerry with Small Business Talk with Jerry. Tonight I have Craig Holschlag and Jeremiah Prigge joining me. Craig's going to co-host us, and we're going to interview Jeremiah Prigge with Family Heritage, a division of Globe Life.
Nothing like roasting a guy that sells cancer insurance.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that. That's a bad idea.
That reminds me of something a couple nights ago, right?
Oh, yeah, well, there's that. That's right. I didn't bring my sign, so I guess we'll call it quits on that.
Right.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Good. You got out of work early?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Got one of the guys, one of the installers to run the store.
Good.
Wife cut out early too.
Oh,
slacker.
All right. Slacker.
Yeah, what's she doing? That wasn't in the purchase agreement, I don't believe, was it?
Right.
We should mention what store you left.
Family Fun Center
in Rochester, Minnesota.
I like to refer to that as the wife's business.
Sure. But we're in Minnesota, isn't it? Community property here.
I think so. Yep.
So, Family Heritage, a division of Globe Life.
Yep.
That's what do you do? What is Family Heritage?
I like to say I sell cancer insurance.
Okay.
And it's funny, when I first started selling cancer insurance, I didn't know that phrase, and it's a door-to-door company. If had I known that in the beginning, would I have jumped? I don't know. I was excited about it. I guess there's a long story there, but I can tell you that as tonight goes on. But really, a different agent. I was watching a YouTube video that he created one time, and when I first heard him, and very successful guy, Nate Terborg, great friend. He's retired from it now, but when he did a video, that's what he did. He said, "I sell cancer insurance," and I'm like, "Wow, that's impactful."
Yeah, it is.
So, that's
it's unique. I mean, you don't hear that. You have the duck and the quacks and all that, but yeah, different stories.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll start by kind of saying, a friend of mine, Scott, came and knocked on my door one day, and I'm a friendly guy. I let people in.
Strangers?
Yep.
Well, he's here. I mean,
yeah. So, but Scott married a classmate of mine. Her locker was 2 lockers away from mine all through high school. So I knew Scott. I didn't know him well, but I knew him. I even partied at his house. So we got mutual friends and did that one time. And so, of course, I let him in. And anyways, he followed the script. I got sold on a script. I didn't know it was a script at the time.
Well, he's good at it then.
Yeah, he did great. But
this was for Globe Life?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And back then it was actually just Family Heritage, a Torchmark company. So Torchmark on the stock exchange, TMK, eventually in I think 2017 or 19, one or the other, I don't remember now, but they rebranded themselves under Globe Life because Globe Life was one of the Torchmark companies.
Oh, okay.
But all their dollars were into Globe Life for marketing. The Texas Rangers baseball stadium was Globe Life Stadium. Dallas Cowboys life insurance is Globe Life life insurance. So Family Heritage was a sister company to that. So there's actually 5 companies within.
So Family Heritage is not a small company.
No,
it's a division of.
Yep, it's a division. There's probably somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 active agents around the country. Sold in 49 states. New York only works with brokers. I'm an independent agent, so I am not, and probably important to say this for anybody that may watch this from corporate office someday, I am not Globe Life. I am an independent agent for Family Heritage division of Globe Life.
Okay.
So, but anyways, Scott sat me down and showed me, this cancer policy, and at that time it was just a cancer policy, an intensive care policy, and an accidental injury policy. But my dad had unfortunately passed from cancer, 29 years ago now. So at that time it was 19 years, I guess, because I've been doing it for 10 years. And I'm adopted, so I had a biological sister that was also going through cancer. So it kind of resonated with me, and he got done showing it to me. I'm like, you mean if I went through cancer, they would pay me all this money to pay my bills, and if I don't go through cancer, I get all my money back? I'm like, who wouldn't buy that?
Right.
And he's like, you should come sell this. You
mean that worked?
Yeah. It didn't at first. So at the time, unfortunately, I was in a spot where I had a year and a half previous to that had left a pretty good job to become self-employed again because I like the self-employment. I like being my own boss.
It's a hard road.
Yep. And after I'd went through divorce in '05, I started working for somebody else to make sure I had the money coming in to support my kids and family.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
But I wanted to get back to that. And so anyways, a year and a half previous to Scott stopping, I'd done that. And lo and behold, went broke doing it.
Sure.
So I needed a paycheck. And ironically, the same week that Scott was at my house, my former boss called me up and said, "Hey, I'm looking for a salesman. You want to come back?" And I played hard to get. He made him take me out to John Hardy's for barbecue and everything. But I needed a paycheck. And so I took the job. But I told Scott, I said, "I will do this. I just, not right now. I need to pay some bills. I need to save up some money, but I will do this." And that was May of 2014. And I truly thought by spring of 2015 that was my goal. In December of 14, at my previous job, which was M&M Lawn and Leisure. I'll plug that, one of the best Polaris dealerships in the country at that time. Still probably is. But I was selling more lawnmowers in December than I was snowmobiles.
Oh, wow.
And M&M at that time, a couple years running, was the largest Polaris snowmobile dealer in the country, which basically means in the world.
Okay, 1 second. What the hell kind of lawnmower does Polaris make?
They don't. I was selling Gravely lawnmowers.
Oh,
the point
okay.
is, I was selling more lawnmowers than I was snowmobiles in Minnesota in December.
Well, that's because we don't have snow here anymore. But.
Right. And so the writing was kind of on the wall that I wasn't going to make a lot of money in January, February, March because snowmobiles were going to get, shot out the door cheap.
Right. Even if you get snow, it's
Right. So I took my year-end bonus at the end of the year. I didn't go back to work on January 2nd. I called up the sales manager, or actually I think he called me up. I don't remember now, but I told him, I said, "Not coming in." And 20 minutes later, Mike called me up and said, "Hey, don't make any hasty decisions. Let's go ahead and talk about this." My decision was made up. I was ready to go back to self-employment. I was,
Could you not do it at the time? Could you not have done them both?
Doesn't work well.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I understand. Like, I was in the insurance world for a while. Not that kind, but it's kind of an all or nothing deal. I mean, you can't do it on the side, so to speak. So I understand.
You can't, and it's kind of funny because now I'm doing multiple things again, but you certainly couldn't build it on the side.
Yeah,
and that,
for sure.
And that was the thing. Right. And I knew, I believed in the product. It just made sense, and I kind of believed in the dream of becoming an agency owner, things like that. Kind of gave up on that now because I don't want to babysit.
Well, I got to be honest.
Dozens of agents.
When you called me about Family Heritage, I mean, you and I mean, all three of us, we've been around, right? And we've known people doing insurance, we've known people doing all things. I mean, and so when you called me, I got to be honest. I'm glad we were on the phone because I'm just kind of rolling my eyes, going, but you're a friend of mine, and I wouldn't deny you the chance to pitch whatever you've got. I would never do that. And then I'm talking with Heather about it, and she was like, "Well, do you think it's that bad?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know, but it's insurance. I don't want to dedicate a day of my life to talk about insurance,
Right.
And it's like, but I'm fat, and we go to eat, so it's like, okay, well, as long as we throw some food in there, get some wings or something, we'll call it good, But you came over to the house.
Yep.
And like you said, what was his name? Steve? Scott. You said this. You give me this whole thing, and it's like, okay, well, we've all had cancer or a car accident. I mean, all the things that you were covering by the time you got to me. I mean, because this was only a few years ago.
Yep.
We've all been touched by that, by these tragedies, and it really. And then at the end of it, you're like, well, was it guarantee of
return
of premium?
Yep.
When you said the return of premium, I'm like, oh, stop.
It's a no-brainer.
Explain this to me. I mean, talk to me like I'm a 3-year-old. Tell me what you just said. And you're like, well, return of premium. It's like, again, same thing you said at that point. I'm like, now I'm rolling my eyes because I'm like, God, I mean, I should have trusted. You're a friend of mine. I know you're a smart guy. I should have trusted not just to give you the opportunity because you're a friend. I should have known it was something decent because you were doing it.
Right.
And so then I was kind of rolling my eyes at myself, going, This is. I mean, how many policies do I have? That's a bunch.
Yeah, you got all 6.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
So I'll say that, because you mentioned the duck earlier.
Yep,
I think
yep.
they have like 27 different products.
Yeah.
Colonial's out there as well. I mean, there's great companies out there. Family Heritage is a great company, but doesn't have near the spread of policies. But I will say, in my opinion, they're the best at the policies they offer.
Do all policies offer the return of premium? Is it
No. There's a couple others that do, but very few.
Yeah. Yeah. And over the years, I've had Combined, which is a similar product.
Yep.
I still have a few Aflac products myself.
Yep.
Now, Combined, the guy that came in originally and sold me, a good product, seemed like an okay product. I mean, I didn't have much experience, and this was 20 plus years ago. And he comes in, it looked like a good deal. It's pretty cheap. I mean, really, in the grand scheme of things, I buy into it. Well, within 6 months, I've got a different guy walking my door. I'm like, no, I've already got a guy. Who's your guy? So I tell him who. Okay, yeah, I'm him now. I'm like, you're him now. Well, yeah, he's not with the company anymore. It's like, oh, okay, fair enough. And then of course this guy gives me this super high pressure. You got to buy more policies. You got to up the layer of the policy you're in. And he just a hound dog. He leaves. 4 or 5 months later, guy comes in. Hey, I'd like to introduce myself with Combined Insurance. I'm like, whoa. I've already got a guy. Who's your guy? Bob. Well, I'm the new Bob. Bob's not with the company anymore. You should buy everything we've got, and you should buy gold tier, top level, whatever. And the first guy I had that sold me was like you, just nonsensical or very, very sensical. I mean, but no nonsense guy. Just this is what you have. This is what we offer. This is what's going to cost you. What do you think? And I liked it. I had Combined for probably 6 years. I had at least 12
Is
or 13.
Combined an insurance company?
It's I don't want to say it's Family Heritage because it's not the same company, but it's similar.
Okay.
It's a similar type Aflac type product.
Supplemental insurance.
Yep. Thank you. Yes. But in a 5.5, 6 year span, I had at least 12 or 13 agents.
Good gracious.
Every single one of them was an absolute bloodhound of just high pressure. I mean, they did everything but tackle me at the store to the shop, to get me to buy more. The only guy that was a decent human being out of the bunch, as far as, I shouldn't say that. They're probably all decent people, right? But to me, I wouldn't have been friends with any of these guys except the first one, And then a good customer of ours came in with Aflac, and I was like, I couldn't get away from Combined fast enough. Combined still hounded me for at least 4 years after I dumped them. Quit paying bills, got them out of there. But the phone calls and the in-person, and it was never relenting. I mean,
I remember you had told me a story about that, and I won't repeat it for the sake of decency, but you had told me a story about a claim you were going through, and you probably know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And I used that story a few times because, and this is a good time to bring it up.
Yeah.
Family Heritage, one of the greatest things about it is we have a protected clientele, and you understand that now, I think.
Yeah.
No other agent within Family Heritage can sell to Jerry without it going through me or my agency owner, because I'm not the agency owner, I'm an independent agent. But no other agent can sell to Jerry.
What if you leave?
Then they could, because he would be an orphaned agent, but it would still go through.
That kind of cuts deep.
Right.
I'm adopted.
I was saying, you're adopted.
You're adopted, son. This is
two orphans.
It didn't offend me to say it.
Tread lightly, Chief.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
but no, when it comes down to it, the reason is we build that relationship.
Yeah.
And that's important to you, the policyholder, and equally as important to the agent to know that some other agent isn't going to come in and promise you the world, be that bloodhound, and try to undercut and steal you away. So that's awesome, but unfortunately, and I don't know the exact numbers, but it's a high percentage turnover in the industry.
I was going to say, but that's not a Family Heritage thing. That's an industry thing.
Right.
Yeah,
yes, in the industry.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. I mean, you're going out knocking on cold doors. I mean, I remember my first couple months. There was people that would sit on the couch, and look at me, know I'm there watching their TV, and look back at the TV and not get up to answer the door. And it's like, I'm just trying to do a good job to help people.
Right.
I mean, it was tough. And then there was that same week, I remember, because it was in Barron, Wisconsin, I was out there working with some agents, working together. And there was a gal and her daughter It was in the summer, or it was April, May. It was May, and the screen door was open, or the main door, and just the screen. They were 15 feet away at a computer. They come to the door, and I tell them, introduce myself, tell them, hey, I'm Jeremiah with Family Heritage, talking to everybody here in Barron about cancer. And they're like, where were you a month ago? We just got back from my first treatment, and that's what we're doing, is on the computer seeing what we can do for financial help. That story I've told a bunch too, because that's the other side of it.
Right.
That's the not rewarding side, but the side that lets you know you're doing something important.
But it validates what you're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you're out doing that, you got to remember a lot of them. You know, you meet some great people, and then you meet some people that just, they're not into it.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Well, I admire what you've done, because, I'd rather get punched in the head than do a cold call.
Yeah.
Whether it's telephone, especially walking up on someone's front porch and knocking on a door. I just, I don't consider myself an anxious person. I mean, you guys have known me for years, right? And getting in front of crowds doesn't bother me. But to go and knock on a stranger's door and go, "Hi, I'd like to sell you something," I'll just be over here.
Right.
It'd be tough. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I'm pretty good.
Well,
I'm pretty good.
You're about as outgoing a person as I know. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty good with people, but I don't think I could. That's a tough one for me, man.
Well, that same week, and so here's another story, and I won't say a name, but another very successful agent in the field, still is, has monster weeks. We got to where we were going in Barron, Wisconsin on a Sunday night. We were going to stay there all week. 9 o'clock on a Sunday night. He's like, "Who's with me? I'm going out to knock on doors." Are you kidding me? That was my thought. I'm new.
Yeah.
And he did. I don't remember the success he had, but I will tell you my personal opinion. I was raised by a mom and dad that you don't call at lunch or dinner time. The phone don't ring after 10 p.m.
Yeah.
It shouldn't even be ringing after 9.
Right. I was just going to say.
Wow, that was ballsy.
Yeah.
But he's doing great things. He's protecting people. Now, I looked at it from the view of that person that probably said no on 9 o'clock on Sunday night might have said yes at 10 o'clock Monday morning.
Right.
That's my view. So not as successful as some of them that have no fear. But at the same time, I take a personal approach.
But you can overthink it too.
Yes.
I mean, like everything. That's everything, though.
Isn't that why I'm part of?
That's why you're
SBRG?
here. That's why you're here.
I'm the overthinker of the 6.
Yeah.
But let's flip that on its head, though, Jeremiah. So the person that would have said no at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night would have said 10 o'clock. Would have said yes 10 o'clock Monday morning. But were they there?
Yeah. Were you gonna find them?
Yeah.
Yep. Totally.
So I mean, 9 o'clock. That's a little late.
That's
You're right. But I mean, I could totally see going out, especially in the summertime, right? Still light out, 7 o'clock after dinner. People sitting around.
Let people finish their dinner. Have a cocktail or two or whatever, and relaxing a bit. And especially in what you're doing. The more I think about it, you want to overthink this one. Sunday is family day for most people. Can you imagine spending all day with the family, and then at the end of the day, you've got a guy coming around selling family security?
Right.
I mean, because that's another.
It's another way to look at it.
It is another way to look at it. You bet. Because we talk about what you do, and like you said, you mean when I'm going through this stuff, you're going to pay me, and I don't have to. It's not going directly to the doctor or to the hospital or to this. I can use it for a car payment. I can buy groceries with it if I want to. I can just put it in my account and feel a little sense of security. That's not all about you.
Right.
You got kids. I mean, now your kids are older, but 10 years ago, you had kids at home.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, it's like knowing that, you've got 2 boys, I mean, that's a whole, as the dad, having income when you're not able to work, boy, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge deal even if you want to kind of cheapen it a little bit, a guy's ego.
Yeah.
Really, you're because there's all kinds of things that we have that our ego jumps into, but when you're the provider, there is a section of ego there, but it's a very important reason why it's there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about life insurance. So that's when I worked with Northwestern Mutual.
That's the epitome of not being able to work. I mean, not being there for your family. Yeah.
And that was always whether you go into the term versus whole, and that's a whole other discussion. But I always said too, like if you're and especially like child policies, everybody's like, "What? That's so morbid." I'm like, yeah, it is. But can you imagine having to take out a loan to bury your child? I mean, that's So it's the same thing. If you have cancer, I mean, children get cancer all the time.
Right.
I mean, unfortunately.
And children have. I mean, in our family in Michigan, we had a 3.5-year-old, that round kitchen table, big oak wooden table, center pedestal type, and tried to climb up on the table and pulled the table over on them. That was it.
Wow.
Dude, she's
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, it's like, who's watching the kid? Well, we've had kids.
Yeah.
They do all kinds of stuff. No matter, unless you are just a helicopter parent that never lets them out of your arm's reach. How do you get away from something like that?
Yeah,
Right.
well,
Kids climb and grab and touch, and but I mean, something like that. And let's face it, if you have a 3.5-year-old at home, you're probably not 60 years old and well off.
Right.
yeah.
I mean, that's that's the dynamics
Unless
of
you're
having
Jerry,
small children.
then you're
Right.
I am not having a 3.5-year-old at 60 years old. No, I'll be living in some remote island. Call me Juan.
Yeah. What's so? Can you say what's the payout? Are you able to disclose? Or is it different per?
So there's different levels. Which
There's some pretty impressive numbers in there. Let me tell you. I mean,
and so the current policies, the elite level will pay like $6,000 for a diagnosis of cancer, $800 a day for hospitalization due to cancer, up to $24,000 per surgery with no limits on how many surgeries, depending on how invasive the cancer is and the surgery is. Same with that hospitalization, no limits to how many days you can be in the hospital. $480 per day of treatment for chemo or radiation. To me, that's the big one. My dad went through 6.5 years of chemo treatments with a year of remission in there. I don't have a clue how many treatments he had, but it was a long time. And so I look at that, and I looked at that at that time even, that what would that have done? Now, my mom worked for Mayo, had great insurance, so it really...
So that really would have been money in hand.
That would have
for them.
been money in their hand, yes. But ultimately, there were gentlemen. I was a junior in high school when he got diagnosed. My brother was already gone to college. There were 3-4 different people that came out and helped with chores. Thankfully, my parents allowed me to still do sports. So I'd come home from sports at 6:30, go down to the barn, take over milking, or
There you say go down to the bar. Like,
I'll go down to the barn, take over milking, or do all the other chores, feed the cows, whatever, while somebody else was milking. So, because my dad was too sick to do a lot of it. I tell you what, the guy didn't take any time off his entire life, other than that I know of, other than 3 days for a softball tournament when my mom played slow pitch softball. But outside of that, he worked every day, 19 hours a day, until he got cancer. I mean, the guy, his final year, he was with his oxygen tank out in the tractor chopping hay, telling me to please don't tell Mom. He was doing what he wanted to do, and sadly, it was a hard year, very hot and humid, and that oxygen tank would freeze up, and it probably didn't do him any favors being out there physically, but mentally it did.
Sure.
So, anyways, it just that money would have helped pay that help.
Sure.
because
that money is paid to the family to do what they want, whether
it's just straight cash, right, homie?
straight cash right into the checking account.
$100 bills.
Right. So, but I mean, you can use it for that car payment
or
the mortgage, things that you may not be able to make that paycheck, or maybe make that bill because of the paycheck.
How many people lose cars, lose their homes?
Yeah.
I think it's like 62% of bankruptcies are medically related.
Yeah.
I think I'm right on that number.
No
I might be off because it's
I know it's high. I don't know what the number is. I know it's high.
I guess
majority
I
of bankruptcies are medically related.
Yeah.
I have
So,
heard that.
that money's important. And
Not this guy. I got my family heritage all lined up. So does the wife.
right. Well, and so I'll play at the other side. So again, family heritage covers cancer, heart attacks, strokes, cardiac events, accidental injuries,
Trimmer accidents.
trimmer, like beard trimmer.
No. I'm pretty careful with my beard trimmer. I haven't touched it in a while. But no, Heather had that brush trimmer. And
Okay, I remember that was probably one of her first claims.
it was one of
Yeah.
There's no return of premium in Heather's policy.
If I remember right, didn't she break an ankle in Mexico or something too, and then live with it like that until she came home and then filed a claim? Yeah,
Yep.
it's crazy.
Yep. And then she got wrapped up in a dog leash at Silver Lake Park and wiped out and Oh yeah, just no return of premium.
then-
We max that. We got that baby covered. We got
Yeah, on the accident one, but hopefully the cancer one and heart one,
Oh yeah,
you get that back.
Yeah, well,
so.
let's keep those right.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremiah. Like so, you have to keep it in force for 10 years. Is that right?
20.
20 years. Okay,
Yeah,
and
so
then you can.
It's a 20-year return of premium currently in Minnesota. Each state might be a little bit differently, so I say that out loud because who knows who is watching this
sure,
or listening. But Minnesota currently is a 20-year return of premium. After 20 years, as long as it stayed in force, you get every dollar back either in a return of premium or in a claim that you had throughout that time.
Yeah, because like just say you paid in $10,000
Yep.
over that 20 years, and you had 3,000 in claims.
Yep.
You'll get your
You'll
$7,000
get your other $7 back.
Now, if you paid $10,000 in premiums and you had $30,000 in claims,
It was
you
insurance.
You
It
got
did what it was
30,000
supposed to
right,
do.
You got 30,000.
So you get money back. So if you don't have a
lose.
claim, it doesn't. I guess what am I trying to say? It doesn't.
a $10 claim doesn't negate your whole premium forever.
Right.
It's,
It comes off what you paid in
Sure.
for that
Yeah.
return of premium. But
You
yeah,
can't lose money.
You can't lose money unless you cancel. Yeah, if you cancel, you were covered great while you had it, but if you chose to let it
And then
go-
once you get past that 20 years, so let's say you get into year 25,
Yep.
and you continue to keep the policy in force, and then you pay, so use Jerry's example, in that 25 years you paid 15,000, and is it 15 or
So
is it
cash
20? Is
is
20
your-
years?
Cash is so, and I'll say I don't know every state's details, but
yeah,
Minnesota.
I'd say, we're covering Minnesota here is
Right.
what
Yeah.
we're talking
Yep.
about. Yeah.
In Minnesota, it's a 20-year return of premium. Your rates are locked in at how old you were when you started, so your rates cannot be increased unless, they're basically your rates cannot be increased.
but you can't let it ride to 25 years. You cash out at 20
Well,
years.
but
right?
then 20 years in 1 month, the premium's the same as it was when you started,
Right.
and continues on. Cancer, ICU, and heart is a one-time return of premium at 20 years. The accidental injury one will pay back a certain amount every year 21, 22, et cetera, minus any claims for that year.
Okay.
So like, did they automatically give that back to you at 20
Yes.
years? Oh, they do.
All in one chunk too, not 1 month at a time.
Yeah.
And then but you continue to pay for it then?
If you still want the coverage, yeah,
And your rates don't go up,
and your rates don't go up.
but you start over, and like in the one-time rate of return of premium. But yeah, it's
So if someone so theoretically, if someone bought this when they were 30,
Yep,
at 50
they get all the
they get
money
all
back.
the 20-year premiums back.
Yep.
And then it starts over, and then at 70 they would
Nope. You only get it back the one time.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Unless you chose to, because, for instance, I
Get a
know-
new rate,
you
essentially.
get a new policy.
Sure.
Start a new
so then you start with a new rate at your new age.
maybe 20 years from now the policy's that much better, that much different. Who knows?
Gotcha. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's as far as I'm concerned, it's a phenomenal product.
Why would I mean?
Are you gonna get his appointment set up?
Well, we've talked,
I'm
and
gonna go get the tablet.
It really.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not getting any younger, and it really is. It is a good deal. I mean,
Yeah,
it
I just
it
like
really is.
my wife is the same. My wife, God love her, same way, right? It's insurance, right? Do we
Yeah.
really need
That's
it?
where I was at. I didn't
And
really.
and so we probably do need it because they're. I mean, Jody's sister, thankfully is a cancer survivor, but my mom had it. She's also a survivor, but my thing. I lost my train of thought of where I was going. I had another question about the return of premium, but
Buy it.
what? No,
Buy
it wasn't
it.
that. It wasn't. No, it wasn't. I'm trying. I was just trying to get people to understand, like, you can't, like, you. Oh, I know what I was going to ask. So you get that. Let's just say $10,000 back after that 20 years. I mean, you get it in one chunk, $10,000, and for you could literally just pay the rest of the premiums, right? I mean, out of that, or
Put it in the bank
invest
and make
it,
your
or
premiums.
whatever.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know. Because I imagine when you sign, I know you can pay your premiums biannually or semi-annually, whatever it is, every 6 months or a
Yep.
year. I don't know if when you sign up, you can say, "Hey, I got, 10,000, 20,000, whatever, sitting in a bank, and I just pay out 20 years." I don't know if they'll do that.
No. That's not what I meant. But I'm saying you get that 10 grand back at the end of 20 years. You just put that in the bank. You just have it automatically taken
Yeah.
out, right?
Yep.
I mean,
And you'd
Yep.
literally be buying.
Yeah, you're
4 years
basically 2 for
insurance
1.
half the price.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Buy it.
Yeah. thinking back to a conversation last week with you in going to the cities and whatever. We pay wellness benefits for some of that stuff. Just saying. We'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
There's,
talk. Yeah.
Yeah, there's preventative.
Yep.
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 Yep. So, and I mean, now because sitting here across you, I'm thinking, well, just buy it, dummy. I mean, it's such an easy choice. But to be fair about that, I don't know how many years I've had this. 6, 7 years. It's been.
Well, I've been doing it for 10. February 2nd was my 10-year anniversary for my first policy, so I do have. She's still a policy holder. She'll get that return of premium as long as she keeps it another 10.
Yeah.
I myself am a policy holder, so I'm looking forward to that return of premium.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I never.
But
go
I
through it.
can't remember how many years we've.
You've probably, I would say at least 7.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But again, point being, I've never once thought of canceling it or dropping any of it or stepping down or anything like that.
Yep.
But again, if this wouldn't have been Jeremiah Prigge calling me, my friend, calling me and saying, "Hey, I want to show you this," if this would have been a guy knocking on the door, I'd have just been like, "I've got to have something better to do than this." I mean, I would have.
How many agents have came in? You've had a few other family heritage agents even come in.
Yeah, I've even had family here.
Yep.
And every one of them, except one, there's only been one exception to that rule. Every one of them, as soon as I mentioned your name, not everyone knew you, but when I said I already have an agent with Family Heritage, and it's they were just like, oh, okay, well, just FYI, if you need anything or your guys need anything, make sure and call him because it's a great product. And they just kind of tried to push that, re-emphasize, validate the
different
product.
than the other experience you had.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well,
it is. It's a great company, great agents, great people. They've done everything they've ever told me that they would do. I try to be hands-on with claims. I know there's a great customer service department in Cleveland, Ohio that will take care of people.
Which, for everyone listening, we have no idea how good that customer service office is because we call Jeremiah, and he just takes care of us. I mean, I've never had a reason to call the company. It's
right.
And we've had claims.
Yeah,
we've had.
And I will
we've
say,
tested the theory.
Self-honesty here. A little bit slower now than it was once because I'm dividing my time up a little bit, but I still do take care of it. And that's honestly, that's why I still do it, because I've told people that I'm going to be there. I'm going to try to be there as long as I can. I mean, realistically, will I be there all 20 years? Maybe not.
Yeah.
I'm going to say at this point, probably not.
Yeah.
But
right.
I'm already 10. I've done a good job. I've protected people. Even if I, passed away myself next week, I know them people will be taken care of, whether it's from Cleveland or Scott, because Scott and I are great friends. He lives 7 miles from me. He'll take care of my people.
Well, and that's like I say, that's why we have it. It's not. I don't have it because it was awesome. I have it because of you. It is awesome. But I mean, I have it because I trusted you. Because again, I'm a guy. You tell me you're going to sell me insurance and come knock on my door. I'm not the guy that's going to sell 10 o'clock on Monday or 9 o'clock on Sunday. Either way, I'm going to be. You guys have known me for years. I'm going to be completely honest with you at the door, going, I can find something better to do than this.
Yeah.
And then when you did it, when you told me about it, I was just like, I was waiting for the shoe to drop. It's like, okay, where's the insurance part of this? Because this sounds pretty good.
I kind of remember you saying them exact words because I remember sitting at the table upstairs.
Yep, I know me, and that's exactly
what happens if the policyholder passes away, not of cancer, but.
So, and that's great too. Good question. So in Minnesota, and I'm pretty sure in all states, but I'm going to say what I know in Minnesota. So basically, when all covered adults pass away, the money is immediately returned to the beneficiary. So,
even if it's before the 20 years.
If it's before the 20 years. So let's say you and your wife had the coverage, and God forbid it, 7 years from now, you guys both passed in a boating accident. The money that you had in your cancer plan.
Are you saying I'm a bad boat driver?
Maybe. No, I don't. I've seen pictures.
I told him.
Yeah.
I told him.
So anyways, the money, if you had a cancer plan, would immediately be that you've paid in, that you didn't have any claims paid on, would immediately be returned to your beneficiaries. Now, in an accident plan, if you had that accident plan and you died in a boating accident, as long as you weren't over the blood alcohol limit driving,
that might be the problem.
Possibly. Then there would have been some accidental death benefits already paid out too. So which would be more than your premium.
Okay, so let's say I have a policy or whatever. It doesn't really matter. And one of us, I mean, same thing. Premium is
Right. So
returned.
if you only covered yourself
Yeah.
and something happened to you, the money would go back to, I'm assuming, your wife.
Sure. Okay.
Well, like with Heather and I, we're not married.
Right.
So we're just in two individual policies.
Yep.
Heather won't get anything back, but I will.
So is it you can do like husband and wife? Is it or
Yeah.
is it,
So individual, married couple, single parent, or family. Family doesn't matter if you have 1 kid or if you have 20. The price is the same. Doesn't go up.
It matters.
Right, because you're paying less per person.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's
I mean, go have more kids. I mean,
Yeah.
if you have 6 kids and you're paying, I'm just going to throw a number. I'm not going to throw an exact number of what a policy is. I do know the number, but
Sure.
let's say you're paying $120 a month for 2 adults and a kid. It's $120 a month for two adults and 15 kids. It doesn't matter.
wow.
Yep.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a great product.
It really is.
When it comes down to it, it covers the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 reasons of death in the United States. Again, we don't do dental, we don't do vision, we don't have what people refer to as that disability policy. It's an accidental injury policy. Disability policies, they're great in certain circumstances. Accidental injury policies are great in certain circumstances.
I tried to talk him into December. I had my other hip replaced. I tried to talk him into the accidental. I accidentally got arthritis. But he wasn't buying it, so he said there was no.
You should have just taken a fall.
Yeah.
Like, I fell, man. My hip, now my hip needs to be replaced.
That would be more funny if it weren't true. But yeah, the damage is already there before the falls happened.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Right.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know where it goes from there, but I do know I enjoy it. I enjoy helping people. Anybody that does this career,
right.
they're there for the right reasons. Those that aren't there for the right reasons probably aren't going to make it.
That's where the turnover comes from.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
I mean, granted, does it pay the bills? Of course. I mean, do I want to make money to pay the bills? Of course.
Right,
I mean,
absolutely.
that is nice, but
Never apologize for making money. I
No.
had that conversation with my son
Right.
today.
No.
right. That's important, and I look at it. It's kind of funny because my wife and I have taken some really beautiful, nice trips, Caribbean trips, statewide trips, whatever that we've won.
From this?
Yeah. I mean, Punta Cana,
Quite
Cancun,
a few, actually, over the years.
Yeah,
Yeah, you've done very well with this.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I always looked at it as I worked for the vacations. I worked for the trips because I knew if I won the trip,
You're
I
making money
was
along the way.
making the money to pay the bills.
Absolutely.
And so when COVID happened for me, I actually caught COVID in 21, September of 21, 3 weeks before the end of an incentive trip. Had to cancel 5 appointments that I had for a week that week. I was able to get a couple of them done before the incentive trip was over. I missed that trip by $900.
No.
That was my first trip in 8 years that I'd missed. That took a little wind out of my sails. It really did. All of a sudden, because I'm that guy that thinks, what's everybody else think? Jeremiah's not there. Where's Jeremiah this year? Things like that.
Yeah.
And that just bothered me. And so I've pulled back some, but it allows me to, again, not make it about the money.
Right.
Diversifying what I do for a living. Owning the Family Fun Center or working for my wife who owns the Family Fun Center.
There you go.
I like to state it that way. But either way, it allows me to talk about the products, educate, but not be a pushy sales guy.
Sure.
And I had that conversation today. Somebody came over for a handshake and a hello today at the store, and I gave a tour of the store. And
Who's that?
Denise.
Oh, great.
Yep. So did a tour of the store, talked a little bit about what she had going on with 4Youth.
Yep.
And some ideas she was doing and stuff.
I'm really excited for
and,
4Youth.
And at the end, she's like, so tell me this about this insurance. And so I'm like, sure. I mean, because I wasn't planning on going into that, but we did.
This is something that I've actually thought about doing an educational podcast for Small Business Referral Group on people who either moonlight with where their business is a side hustle and they have a full-time job, or they have multiple businesses. I think something we don't talk about enough is, well, when we talked about this podcast, we were talking about doing Family Fun Center and then Family Heritage. Do we do them together? It's like, well, no, because your pool player crowd, I mean, it's a different family,
Yep.
right? It's a different set of friends. They may not be excited to watch Jeremiah with Family Heritage, his podcast, but they'll watch the Family Fun Center,
Right.
and vice versa. You know, you've got the people that are interested in learning about this and that just know you outside of pool.
Right.
Then this is just as interesting. But the thing we don't talk about enough is you're very good at insurance. You're a hell of a pool player, and you're a good business owner, a good entrepreneur in Family Fun Center. I think you've done some really good things there, and you create that rapport almost immediately with people. And your wife too. I mean, Roxy does the same thing.
Yep.
So when someone walks in to Family Fun Center, you don't have to limit your ability, you know, to talk to that person to pool cues and bar stools.
Right.
You know, you've got, and then same thing when you come and talk to me about insurance, there's nothing wrong with, you know, mentioning the Family Fun Center or telling a story that includes, you know, to kind of make sure those businesses coexist, because your Family Fun Center family and your Family Heritage family, there's no reason some of those are going to have similar interests and intermingle.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, do you not like to talk about? Say you're at Family Fun Center. Do you not like to talk about family heritage?
That's a huge topic and a huge. I mean, ultimately, I try not to wear two hats at the same time too openly. I mean, I like to let people know if the opportunity is there that I do other things, but I don't try to push them. I don't say, "Hey, we want to look at some insurance now that you're done paying for that pool cue."
Well, right. You don't want people to not want to come to Family Fun
Right.
Center
Right.
because they're going to get berated.
Right.
But you're not a berater.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
you're not.
But so I'll say too, and I still need to look up the full quote, and we're maybe in between podcasts here. We'll do that tonight because somebody pointed it out to me. The whole jack of all trades, master of none quote. Apparently, that's not the whole quote, and the whole quote would actually make you think differently of how that first part sounds. But my brother, great businessman, runs an awesome business, but very focused on one business. He's the one that I think I first heard that statement from, jack of all trades, master of none. So I guess, again, I care what other people think, so I'm very self-conscious.
To a fault sometimes.
Yes. Yep.
Like all of us. Yep.
Very self-conscious about
I don't
that.
care about.
But
Either of you.
I've gotten a little bit better with it. But and that's why I joke about it. The wife's business, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
yeah, it's we bought it together.
course.
She wouldn't have bought it if I didn't say, "Hey, let's go do this."
Yeah.
But at the same time, it helped me diversify to do insurance, helping people with cancer, things like that. But now I also can sell tangible items, fun items that revolves around my passion, my fun, my hobby. If I could make a living selling pool cues and bar stools, I always say I would, because I have a blast. I'm in my element selling pool cues.
Yeah. And they're not necessarily consumables by any stretch, but most people that buy a pool cue, they don't just buy a pool cue.
Right.
I mean, they're not going to buy another one next month.
Right.
You know, they're not. It's not eggs. It's not milk. They're not coming back next week for that. But
It's
you've
almost
gotta,
the price of eggs, though.
oh, it's getting closer.
Yeah.
But I mean, but you've got a huge assortment of things. So coming and buy a pool cue today doesn't mean you can't come back next week and get something.
Right.
You're probably not coming back for another pool cue.
Right.
You know, they're going to last you longer than that. But I look at my businesses. I know I can tell you multiple stories from every single one of those businesses where I've sold something or gotten a client or a new job in every other business. I mean, the gun shop, I get automotive customers for our auto shop. Blake sells garage doors and garage door service like mad to gun store customers. Shirts, you know, Design HQ, the hats, the shirts. We sell a ridiculous amount. We've gotten so many clients out of there. SBR, we've had visitors to a small business referral group from the gun shop. Then you go to the auto shop. I mean, I have every one of my businesses has benefited from being at the auto shop. And yeah, you can't berate people and you can't shove it down their throat every time they come in. But the thing that my perspective on that is, yeah, every time someone comes in to look at a pool cue, you can't just chase them around the store with family heritage brochures, right? And go crazy. But when they come to you and they have a heartfelt conversation with you about a bar stool, you sell high-end bar stools. They're beautiful. You have so many choices. That sale doesn't happen, and people just walk in and go, "Yeah, I'll take 2 of those." Right? I mean, you build a relationship.
Yep.
And when you sell a $1,200 pool cue, not that they're all $1,200. There's cheaper ones too. But when you sell a high-end pool cue, you don't carry $39 junk.
Right.
Right. So when you sell a high-end pool cue or a $5,000 pool table, again, people just walk in, "Yeah, I'll take the blue one." Right. You create a relationship. People like you, they trust you, and when you build that relationship, I don't look at it as trying to shove insurance down their throat. It's like, why send them out to a shark, what might be a shark, and even if it's not a shark, they still got to go build another relationship. Right. They already have that with you, the trust and the rapport. Let them buy more things from you. And help them.
As you were saying that about your businesses, it was coming to my mind. It comes down to the person. It comes down to a likable person.
It does.
A relatable person. Again, a person, not a salesperson. Right. I've always said I'd rather be a great person and a good salesman than a great salesman and a good person.
And
right. No, I do believe that. I truly do because I think it matters.
It does matter
who you are first, and if you can help people. You've said it. If you're not pissing somebody off, you're not doing something. Not everybody's going to like you.
Not everybody's going to like you. If you don't, it's not so much. I have amended that feeling a little bit. It's not so much when I was younger. It was just, if you're not pissing anybody off, you're not trying hard enough. That was always what I said. As I get older, I am going to amend that a little bit. If you're not willing to risk pissing someone off, you're not trying hard enough.
Right.
And I think you can.
As long as you know you're on the right side of it, right?
That's what I mean. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you're doing the right thing, if you believe in what you're doing, and like you have plenty of things. You do not have to do family heritage anymore.
Right.
But you feel a commitment to me, to your clients, because you sold us this. You want to be there. And like I said, I would have to call you to get the number for Cleveland.
Right.
Because I don't have it.
And I will say, even if I die, I can't give you the number. But if I was to get out of it, fall out of it, whatever, at some point, because I'm not active enough, I'm still going to help you because that's who I am. Right. I'm not going to go change my cell phone number. Yeah. Unfortunately,
lose my number.
Some phone calls might not be as fun as others. But again, I know the product is a great product. I know the company's a great company. I know they'll be taken care of. I hope to do it as long as I can to the best of my ability. But at the same time, life does grow, life does change.
It does. It does, absolutely.
So I guess with that, I will say I'm loving doing what I do in multiple different arenas, and I am getting better at accepting that I can talk about all of it. Yeah. But at the same time, it's still
it comes hard. I mean, there's no question. But like I said, my view has changed on that over the years. Saying once you make that relationship with somebody, I look at myself. If I could go to Jeremiah's house and I can buy multiple things, if you can satisfy multiple areas of my life, with insurance, with a pool table, with whatever, why do I want to go out and try and build a new relationship or risk getting taken advantage of by someone I don't know and don't trust? When I have you, I'm going to give you, that's the creed for small business, right? It's like, I want to give you my money. And as a small business, are there going to be times where you might be a few dollars more? Well, it's possible. I'm never going to come to you and go, well, Jeremiah, I give you all my business. You need to give me a deal. It's like, no, you need to make a living.
Right.
And back to what Craig said, don't ever apologize for making a living. Our goal, my kids, I've told them, I said, out of all the things, be a good person, right? Try to be on the right side of topics. Listen more than you talk, which I can't do. But I want to. I want to do that. Let's just, but I, at the end of the day, it's like contribute to society.
Yeah.
And if you have no money, it's hard to contribute to society. Bottom line. People will argue with me about all kinds of things, volunteering and charitable and whatever. Well, the more money you have, the more freedom, time you have, the more ability to be charitable, the more ability you have to contribute to society. Yeah. So you don't have to make it all about the money, but you got to have some. Don't ever apologize for making a living.
No.
Right. Right.
You know?
And I should say too, I thought of it earlier, I thought of it again now. I wouldn't be doing any of it if I didn't have the support of my wife. I mean, when I started as a family heritage agent, I was at my lowest. You know, I stated I wasn't making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Um,
That was
and
not long after the landscaping. Right? Or a couple of years?
no, it was 9 years after. Well, 8
Was
years
it that
after that.
long?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I went through
remember that right
my
then.
divorce in 05, 06.
Okay.
Quit landscaping. Sold our business in 06.
Okay. That was longer than I thought then. Okay.
Went to work for a radio station for 3 years
I remember that. I forgot
before
about that.
Mike hired me away, headhunted me away, and I
M&M.
went to M&M for a total of 5 years of work with a year and a half in the middle there.
Sure.
What'd you do at a radio station?
Sold advertising.
Oh, you're
I,
on
I was taught there if you can sell air, you can sell anything.
Wacky Morning with Jeremiah, everybody.
I think everybody watching us knows that I don't have the radio voice necessarily. Too monotone.
I mean, I didn't want to say it, but
Too monotone. But no, I
You could
sold.
pull off the weather.
Yeah. But no, it was 2015, and it was funny because when I went back to work for Mike and then I left again, there was no going back a third time.
Yeah.
This insurance thing is going to work,
it's
and
gotta go.
and I mean the beauty that I did get from it is I got to be a dad again. I got to go to some 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon games that I wasn't getting to do.
Right.
But when I left that game at 6 o'clock, guess what? I went out and worked till
was
8,
gonna
9
say, you
o'clock
were
at
back
night.
to
Not
work.
on a Sunday,
Yeah,
but
back
I
to
was
work.
back to work. I wasn't going home till 8, 9 o'clock at night. A lot of nights, some nights 10:30, 11, 12. We met some great people, had some great conversations, and some of them meetings that are supposed to take an hour would take 4 hours because
Sure.
we got into religion and different things like that.
No, but you, the things you believe in, you're not wishy-washy on anything.
Right.
I mean, when you have a passion, whether it's politics, it's religion, it's family. I mean, you
I
stand
like
up
to
for what
state
you
my
believe in.
opinion. Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
and that's something I have admired about you, really, since we were just like acquaintances playing pool years ago. I always, it's like, you say something, and Jeremiah, he will either agree with you and shake your hand, or he'll let you know that we don't agree on that. And it wasn't like he was being a jerk. It was just, but he was very direct, and you didn't have to guess.
Right.
You didn't have to say something and wonder what Jeremiah thought.
And I'll still shake your hand afterwards. though.
Absolutely.
Because-
I
because-
didn't mean to make it sound that
no,
way.
I just wanted to throw that
Yeah.
because I mean I do try to be open-minded.
Yeah. Oh, you're way more open-minded than I am. I'm just saying.
I would agree.
Yeah. Oh, you know it. You
I
know
would
it.
agree, but
Yep.
but I like to learn. I truly think there's a lot I can learn, and that's another reason why the insurance meeting people, sitting down, and some of them conversations were 4 hours because we build relationships, and that's what it was all on.
And back to that, it's I say that we say that in our small business referral meetings quite often. It's like we're here for the business, but the business comes from the personal relationships you're going to make in this room.
yeah.
And if you want to argue that, you're probably in the wrong place.
Right.
Because if you're just going to come in here and brag about your business, I want you to brag about your business. I want to hear what you do well. I want to know why I should spend my money with you and my reputation. And what I mean by that is when I tell Craig that Jeremiah, you need to buy this insurance, you need to go at least talk to him and let him give you the pitch on this insurance. If you go in there and screw the pooch, that's my reputation. Craig's going to look at me going, I really can't ask Jerry for advice anymore. He sent me to that guy.
We had that conversation last week about some referrals.
We did. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
so.
Yep. We did. So that to me, that's really important. Everything we do, even this podcast, small business talk, right? It's all about business. But at the end of the day, we talk about the business, but we are passionate about the personal relationships you build.
Right. What I'll say, I think to hopefully probably start closing this segment
I
out.
was just going to say, we are 54 minutes
Okay,
into this when you said, I don't have 15, 12 minutes. What?
So I will say for anybody listening to this, I'm not the only one. Family Heritage isn't the only one. I feel they're the best, but that's an opinion. But really, anytime somebody comes and knocks on your door or your business and wants to talk about cancer insurance, it's worth hearing them out because there's a lot of great products out there that people aren't required to have. It's insurance. You don't have to have it to drive down the road or to pay the mortgage like you do some things.
Right.
But I tell you what, this insurance can help you continue driving down the road or pay that mortgage. So it's an important thing to have and understand what it is. And I think it's just important that all people who truly, you can see that they care in that industry. It's worth getting to know them, and
It
hear
is
them
worth
out.
giving him a shot. Absolutely. I was fortunate that I knew Jeremiah and I gave him the shot, but because I probably wouldn't have done it otherwise.
Someday
you know?
you might get to know me and give me a shot.
yeah, for sure. I have the things at home. I was looking at them.
It's
About a month ago, again for Blake, but
I mean, it'd be different if, well, one, they're very reasonably priced.
Yep.
I mean, I when you were showing me the pricing, I was like, this, again, kind of waiting for their shoe to drop. It's like, what's the catch? Well, the catch is you get all your money back after 20 years if you haven't already gotten it back in claims along the way. And it's like, that's not the catch I was looking for. Where's the negative? Where's and I just, now when I was 20, I would have never bought this because one, I didn't have any money and I wasn't smart enough. I definitely wouldn't have seen the value in it.
Right.
You're 20 years old, you're 10 feet tall and bulletproof. I'm not going to get sick. I'm ready to roll. Now at 53 and a couple new hips and, other issues, it's like, yeah, I'm glad I have this security.
You mentioned
blanket.
that had a
With
20
my accidental arthritis.
had a 20-year-old policyholder that had the accident plan. I didn't talk to him about the cancer plan. A year or so after he got the accident plan, he went through cancer. There was a great benefit held for him. Did very, very well. I'm so glad there was a community there. But I also know we would have paid probably. My guesstimate was somewhere in that $50,000 to $60,000 to that 20-year-old. That would have been life changing. And the irony is, the cancer plan was the exact same cost as the accident plan. For literally, I'm gonna say about $101, $102, he could have the best of both. And I didn't do it. So I say that because it's important. Whether it's 20, whether it's a 3-year-old.
But you don't know that you don't know that he would have been interested in that.
Right.
I mean, you just, because again, I wouldn't have been at 20.
Right.
Now the accident plan, if it's affordable when I'm 20, you might have been able to talk me to that.
But,
I can relate to that.
But my job is still my job.
It is.
Do your job. Offer
But you're
it,
better
talk
today
about
because
it.
of it.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you won't let that happen again.
Because now any 20-year-old I talk to, I tell them that same story, hoping they at least grasp the idea to listen.
Even if they don't buy today, at least they think about it. And they know you cared enough to
I
tell
give
them
them the opportunity to say no, don't say no for them.
Yep, absolutely. But like I say, you're a better person today for it.
Yeah,
I guarantee you.
So,
Craig, any closing thoughts?
no, I guess I better look at my lack of cancer policy when I get home that he gave me a while ago.
It's Jeremiah.
that was this whole thing. It was just to sell
Yeah,
Craig.
I
this isn't even being recorded.
Yeah, I forgot to push record. So this is all for Craig. For everyone watching that wants more information on Jeremiah Prigge, on family heritage, and on cancer insurance, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Probably email, and my email for that industry is jprigge, the letter J, Prigge at ibgfhl.com.
One more time for the slow kids.
Yeah.
The letter J, Prigge at ibgfhl.com.
.com. Awesome. You heard it here. Maybe not first, but it was awesome. Jeremiah, thank you for coming out tonight. I think we did pretty good. We got almost an hour out of insurance, and I don't think it was boring. I think we did all right. I'm hoping. We'll get some comments on that.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. Guys, again, Craig, thanks for helping out tonight, and we'll talk soon. Guys, check out the next podcast. It's coming up right after this.
Right.